Back, y'all. Hey, once again, we got another Tell Me Anything podcast brought
You're
to
gonna
you.
learn a lot today.
Gonna learn a lot.
You're going to learn a lot. We are feeling good. We are feeling great. As you know, this is the one podcast where you're going to get shit raw. You're going to get it unfiltered. You're going to get everything from business to mental health to the fuck it. Like we said, Tell Me Anything. Brought to
Tell
you by
me
me, Timbo All Day, my
all
boy,
day.
Caliber TV with the
Caliber
The
Another
great
TV.
Bomber look,
Whoa,
and
whoa.
Young Third and Mr. Orca,
Lahayim. Mazel tov.
whatever that shit means. So
Well, we
look,
see
y'all,
what's going
y'all
on
already
drinking in
know.
the morning. Drinking in the
It's
morning.
5 o'clock somewhere, nigga.
It's to let your hair down, motherfucking pod today. And as you
Fuck
can
it.
see, my shit is down.
So
Yeah.
fuck it. Y'all know how we start this shit, man.
I'm having smoke and everything, nigga. 2025 been a whole bitch in the motherfucking half, okay? I'm drinking early. Yeah, you damn right.
I like
That type
2025,
of
but look, let's start off with the praise reports, y'all. Who want to go first?
Everything's all good. Everything's all lovely. I can still move. I can still breathe by myself. You know what I'm saying? I can scratch my nose if I want. You already know. Praises, praises, praises. And the family's doing well too. So I just
All
gotta
praises.
say that. You know what I'm saying right now. So everything's good. That's my praise report.
Let's go.
shit, man. I'm along the same lines, man. My praise report is man, family. Got to see my eldest brother yesterday, man. And it's always a blessing to see him, to listen to him talk, get some wisdom from him, get some game from my big bro. um, so that's my praise report. I got to see him, and I got to talk to him about some business ventures, some different trying to things that we're trying to set in motion. And he was interested and wanted to help, and things went positive. And yeah, man, that's my praise report, man. Looking forward to trying to build some things with my family. Got to talk to my sister about building something else. My other older sister, not my eldest sister, but second eldest. You know, it's the gang guys. So I'm just thankful for the family, man. Thankful for the opportunities going in the next year to build with the family, and all praise to the Most High.
Hell yeah. Hey,
Wish I
my praise report is this motherfucking bullshit ass holiday Christmas is over, bro. Like straight up, man. Like I ain't never
man.
seen
Nigga,
nothing
you ain't in the
really.
festivities, nigga. You ain't joining the
Fuck
festivities.
no, nigga.
Nigga.
I don't like this shit, bro. First off, I remember last week when I went, or 2 weeks ago when I had to go see my daughter back in California. She had to tell me like, I don't fuck with Christmas either. Like I don't believe in Santa Claus. I barely believe in Jesus. And I was like, damn, don't tell your mom that. But at the end of the day, yeah, I'm glad you don't because we worked too hard for you to believe in Santa when these gifts come from me. And if y'all see me a little back here, I don't know if y'all could hear that. I'm gonna smoke a cigar this time because we made it to another year. I'm 41, nigga. I done outlived my grandma, and yeah, y'all, I want to have a real true episode, right? Some of the things we're going to discuss in this episode. Of course, we're going to go over business because this is associated with a business podcast. And one of the things today we're going to talk about in business is being a black man in corporate America and kind of what that means and what you got to go through. Some other things we're going to go to is the Ebo situation. We're going to talk a little bit about music, huh?
You won't know a black cat, boy. That's a
Yeah,
nigga.
Ebo Noah. And
It's
then
a
we're going
nigga.
to talk about our
You know,
2026
too.
predictions. Because one thing I think about in the 2026 predictions is God damn, this year in America has been tricky. And one thing with that is like, I guess we'll kick it off with the business situation, right? Hold on, let me light my cigar because, like I said, this is gonna be a fun ass episode today.
Woo.
So you talking about like when you say business in America and being in corporate America, so you talking about like the way niggas got a code switch,
Man,
the
Yeah,
way
we
exactly.
talking
we
about
can't
all of
be
it. Bring it out.
the
We
way we
talking
Bring it
about
can't
out.
be,
all of it.
yeah, who we
So
really
like,
want to be.
so like first, yeah, I actually got a video I want to show on that right? Yeah, it is about code switching, which is a lot of parts. Like that's why I appear the way I do, right? And I'm not doing it so much for myself as I am for the next second, third, fourth generation. Like our ancestors put us in the place to be here, to still be able to speak eloquently, to still be able to move eloquently, and know that when I'm in the corporate worlds and I'm in a business meeting or a sales meeting, one thing that I know is worst situation, y'all can't kill me.
Why not?
Go ahead. Go ahead. I've been in situations where I really was about to die and I still made it out and I still made the money. If I'm in corporate because this major client don't decide to sign the contract, you ain't gonna kill me over not signing that contract.
That part. That part. The
So
Yeah.
look,
stakes is so much lower than what I already been through. And good afternoon to Vernice. Thanks for tapping in again. I see you in the chat. Let me throw this out there, right? Because we always think about the side of, us having to do all these things. Do you ever gain resentment when you see niggas that's in that space that don't got a code switch or that don't code switch? Or they come in here and they mad niggerish, right? And it puts you in the position as the code switcher where they looking at you like, can you get him to act more like you?
so actually, yeah. But I see it on the other end, right? If I see somebody who's mad niggerish, I don't want to change him, right? Because I'm like,
Maybe
oh,
Cause I love niggas, cause niggas
niggas
are
is me.
me.
But at the
And
same
I should only
time,
love
I
that
know
which is
I'm
me.
not that niggerish, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
that's not no disgruntled. What I dislike is the person who is full, and y'all know where we came from, right? We have the stigma of no matter where we live is we are the whitewashed bunch of our groups, right? Even we are a crew, and everybody who knows you, me, and third, they know that we all run together. But what I'm saying with that is in that same mentality, outside of us and outside of the niggas we know, other niggas look at us as the whitewashed one. And I'm here to say that ain't me. But I'm not gonna bow down to you. I'm not
But
gonna
but
try to
you
fit
know,
in.
but you know where we come from though. You know what I'm saying? We come from a city of skateboarders and punk rockers and shit. You know what I mean? So
I came in with the haven't you people
yeah,
ever heard
and even
of?
even those white boys, you know
haven't
what
you
I'm saying?
niggers ever heard of?
Even look, even those white boys, you know what I'm saying, they still get down and they have a certain get down
Back in
too.
the day,
So
I can't speak for these new kids back in our
so
day.
but that's what I'm saying. Like,
We
you
had
know,
white
growing up in our days, like late 30s, early 40s, like, you know what I'm saying? Everybody was around everybody. So it was like, you my nigga, but you can't be too much of a nigga. You know what I'm saying?
that part.
So like
Nobody really talks about it or tell you this on day one.
Hold on, pause it real quick. Let me finish that thought.
I did. My bad.
so anyways, I guess the code switching in corporate America is a little bit more for me, it's a little more easier to come in because I've seen people too come in, you know what I'm saying, mad niggerish, doing their thing and all that shit. And it's cool. Don't get me wrong. Like, I don't care. But you making these white people uncomfortable. And you know what I mean? Certain times they be talking to their breath and you know what I'm saying, saying all kind of shit because you up here being extra loud and they take it as aggression, but you just extra loud. You know how we get, you know what I'm
Bro, it's
saying?
just but
Yeah,
at what point did they have to accept our culture? We've been accepting their
that's why I
culture.
wanted to.
Yeah,
Like
That's
we've
why I
been
wanted to
accepting
bring
it.
this up, right?
of course. Of course.
So
But you know what
like
Because
I'm saying?
we still are walking this tightrope of trying to be ingratiated into the society that we know nothing but this society, and we trying
Yeah.
to ingratiate ourselves into this motherfucking shit. And we as American is apple pie, and
if not more.
and exactly, and after everything that like you brought up, our ancestors fought for, the people that came before us fought for, it's crazy that we're still having these conversations because we still in this place where like now here's the other side of it, right? We've all brought up this term like mad niggerish and shit. We talked about it, and it's like is there a point to where it's like there's a certain part of what quote unquote our culture that like nigga leave that shit outside. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like do we need every bit of the black experience to be,
Ah,
corporate certified and okay? Or like, you know what I'm saying? Like, is it some of it that like we need to leave for Saturday night?
yeah,
Facts.
yeah. It's a lot.
But
It's a lot that
well,
we need to leave on the
yes,
table.
yes, there
Because
is a lot that
that's
needs to
where I
be
think a
left
lot of people
outside.
get frustrated with us is that like some of the people that's vocal about this kind of thing is almost vocal with not like no borders. Like and like Nas said, like Caliber said, like you making these white people uncomfortable. Like nigga, you making me uncomfortable too, nigga. 'Cause I don't
Yeah,
really know like your limits. Yeah, I don't know you from nowhere but here, nigga. I don't
yeah.
know where you finna take this shit,
And
nigga.
yeah, so I'm saying, niggas can take it out. They can take it there,
Yeah,
though. You know what I
I don't
mean?
know where
But
this shit
that's
finna
but
go.
And
that's
that's
the
gonna put
thing.
you in a different
I
mode,
was
though.
trying to get a promotion this year, nigga.
Yeah.
So that's the thing I'm talking about, right? Is until
So
you understand the culture, right, of every other culture that's around you, especially if we live in this so-called place called America, you have to understand you live with different people who act different type of ways. But why is it that everybody loves the American culture or the black American culture until some niggas get there?
I think
because they
because
That's
want to
my
be like
question.
us, but they
there's a
don't want to
difference
be
between
like us.
that's true, and also there's a big difference between um the Black American culture that gets sold and the Black American culture that like really is right. So I feel like they're enamored with the parts of us that they picked out and they've chose for us to go do our dance and jingle for them. They like this shit. This is what we like from you. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? And it's almost uncomfortable anytime we get out of that space of doing anything that like they don't know us for. Like we don't know you for that. Like I don't like how it makes me. What are you doing? I like you like this. So
So
like we gotta ask the question like, what mask do we have to put on to step into the corporate world and be taken serious?
I don't think you need to put on any mask in the corporate world to be taken serious. I think you need to know your shit, know how to speak about it, know how to be about it, and anything else, like, bro, fuck it. If they don't want you in that room, then you don't need to be in that room. We had that conversation early on in one of our early podcasts that if
So in a lot of ways, I fuck with that heavy, right? In certain industries, though, in certain industries, niche industries, I say, those rooms are the only rooms that are allowed to play. Like, what do you do in those terms? Like, then at that point, when that's the only
what
room,
what
you know what
room?
I'm saying? Like,
No, I don't.
um,
Name three
so
that you can't
okay,
still be a nigga and still be professional at the same fucking time.
crypto.
You
I
can
feel
be
like
a
you have to.
nigga. You can be a nigga. Look, now because crypto, all you're talking about is finances. You're talking about what's coming in and what's going out.
You're not gonna be writing code in these they got these houses in the bay, you know what I'm saying, where all these code writers stay together. You're not gonna walk in there being every bit of you and instantly you're gonna build up to being you and let your hair down when they're ready for you to let your hair down.
So that's the part I have a problem with. Here, let me play this clip real quick.
Let's
And
do it.
then yeah. And then maybe it'll align to what we're saying.
And what's the deal,
Performance,
Smack?
you're judged on perception. How you speak, how you show emotion, and how confident is too confident. And you learn real quick that you're representing more than just yourself because mistakes feel louder and wins sometimes feel minimized. So, guess what? You code switch, you over prepare, you work twice as hard to be seen as safe, polished, or just overall professional, right? And the unspoken rule is this: you have to master the system before you're allowed to challenge it. And here's what I mean by master the system, real quick. In corporate, credibility is so important. As a black man, you don't start with the same balance. Sometimes you don't get that grace for potential. You get rewarded with consistency, receipts, and results over time. Because if you challenge the system too early, you get labeled as difficult. But here's the ultimate power move. Once you understand the rules, you can play the game without losing yourself. I had to learn this the hard way. Excellence, boundaries, and strategies change everything. So if you're navigating corporate as a black man, just know you're not imagining all this and you're not alone. We all feel it. We've all been there. We've all had to navigate this feeling, everything that I talked about. So you're not alone, man. And hopefully these tips helped you.
So there we go.
So talk
That's
to me
what
like he's still saying like you got to tap dance a little bit.
he's saying that you got to tap dance. But what I'm saying is if your work, so you mentioned about coding in these Bay Area apartments. If you know how to code, you know how to code. If you're the best fucking coder in the world, it doesn't matter how you talk. It doesn't matter how you dress. It don't matter about none of that. What matters is what you can get done because coding is one of the few things in this world that either you know it or you don't. Plain and simple. But I can't get into this room because of the way I dress. I can't get into this room because of the way I talk. But can't none of y'all write a code like me.
So
And I still have to code switch to get there.
I very much like I found myself when we was going to crypto events heavy and shit, and I got invited to private parties at people's houses, and I was flying out to Frisco, and people was putting me up in their plates and shit like that. I very much don't feel like hood me could have opened them doors the same way. I wouldn't even have thought to have used that version of me in those places. Like,
Well,
um,
so hold
you know what
on.
I'm saying? Like,
No, wait,
useless in
yes,
that.
yes, but wait a minute. Because the hood you is not even the real you. It's not the
No,
full 100% you. Like we still adapt to who we are in the hood. Like who are
but
you?
at no time, like even when I was out with them in East Oakland, and it's kind of shady over here, I would I wouldn't have reacted. I wouldn't even have felt comfortable reacting to the situation the way I would have reacted if it was us three. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't even have felt comfortable pressing nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just gonna keep moving. Like y'all gonna keep moving. So that's kind of the topic that we talking about, Bernice. We talking about the fact that we've had to adapt to get to this point, to be allowed the access that we've got to, and basically the question is kind of like turning into like how many more generations gotta front until we just like walk in as us. We just
That
getting
part.
to a point where like the way my hair grow ain't gonna just automatically make you look at me like I can't represent you.
That part. You on mute or something, Naj. I saw you talking.
Yeah, I heard you, Stacy. Here,
Oh
you
damn.
unmute him.
Okay, yeah, no, I got it. I got it. Um, what was I saying? Oh yeah, some people make you shave your face. You know what I mean? Because
I'm not shaving it.
they feel like you know what I mean, the whole whatever, and then they make you change your look. And this is not how we get down. You know what I mean? But in order for us to uh, pretty much just give in, that's because that's really what it is, though. We kind of are just giving in, um, because they have everything, right? So they have what you want, and so you got to act this certain way in order to get it. That's kind of how I'll be looking at it. You know, I don't know if that's necessarily anything.
No, it's not. That's dead on, and you gotta wonder how much like that kind of train of thought bleeds into other issues that we always see happening with us as a community. Like, why? Like, if we got to deal with this all the time from trying to seek higher employment, you know what I'm saying? Then when we come back to trying to date our women, and they have the same standard of like, well, you got to do this before this and shit. I feel like maybe that's where a lot of frustration in our community comes from between the male and
Definitely.
the females. because you got to remember all of this has always been put into place, like for whatever reason, to cause strife amongst our communities while we here. You know what I'm saying? Like
even along the lines of still even the interracial dating, right? Dating somebody of a minority race is a lot different than dating a white woman, right? Because at least dating another minority, they understand part of the struggle. That look, I gotta fight every fucking day when I'm out in the world. Like I gotta fight.
all
I gotta go.
like you gotta read less instructions to them.
Well,
Like,
no, but with the white woman,
like
yes,
going
it's
back
less
to page
instruction.
one, this white woman like going over like, let me teach you all. Like at least if you're dealing with somebody else of another ethnicity, it's like less of the instructions that I gotta go back and explain my plight.
Yes,
because
yes.
at least you can
And
meet
it's
here.
still, but it's still not fair. So, like, what I'm saying, right? And I guess this can also segue into what we're going to talk about next. But for instance, the whole world loves our culture as far as Black American culture, from hip hop to sports entertainment. They love it. But then when the people who is based on come into the office, oh, now it's frowned upon. Oh, now the way you wear your hair, we're disgruntled. Versus, but you love Biggie, you love Tupac, you love Jay-Z, you love LL, but you don't love the people they grew up around.
What about like even like the questioning of the intelligence, whereas like your ideas maybe don't get, as much play in the meeting because like to them they might be looking at you like you a DEI hire or you here for some diversification type shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they don't even pay attention to your fucking ideas.
Nah, bitch, I'm top of my class. Top of my class. Help multiple corporations get millions.
Don't do the neck like that, bro.
Individual
I'm gonna never
contributors.
see your neck like that again.
Wild neck action, boy. That's crazy.
That was a lot of motherfucking chicken heart.
So, hey, look, y'all. One thing we want y'all to do on this podcast, as this group podcast individually, is leave your comments for the 2026 predictions. We're gonna tap in at the end.
Tell us anything.
And 2026 give y'all our 2026 predictions.
Who's gonna
we want to hear that
happen. All that good stuff. But I will say this though, I think that us talking about corporate America and how we need to push on our stuff, it would be okay if we had a little bit of UNITY.
Okay, Queen Latifah.
And that's among the Black folks, though. You know what I mean? I was watching the comedian Godfrey, and he was doing the interview, and he said that he had a homeboy in Africa that was like, "You guys are the most copied and most loved nation in the world, but you guys don't have no unity. You guys can't bring it together because there's always some stuff going down internally with us, and you can't fix the world unless you fix yourself, right?" So in that case, yeah, we still trying to look out for the handout from the white man, but we shouldn't be able to do that. We amongst our people, what I believe is don't quote me on this, but I think we bring in like 8 trillion a year as far as a culture. You know what I'm saying? That's for a whole. What up, James? What's up?
James,
good morning, gentlemen.
But you know what I'm saying? That's just for a whole nation. You know what I mean? We can do that. So that's how I feel about that situation too, just in and out. James, what's up, man? Good to see you, brother.
Likewise. What I miss out? What can we do as a nation?
So we talking about, so let me fill you in real quick. We've been talking about us entering into the corporate environment, right? Trying to fit in, should we fit in or should we keep our true authentic selves in that corporate environment? Part of what I was saying is there's a big difference between the hood me, the corporate me, and the real me. Now, there's situations where I got to get hood on some shit. There's situations I got to get corporate on some shit. But why can't I just be me?
Oh, so you're talking about
what you spoke on?
Like a code switcher? You're a habitual code switcher?
That's exactly where we're going.
Yeah.
That nigga
And
said
first off,
habitual.
before you get into it, tell them what you do.
Habitually,
Tell them what you
switching,
do.
nigga.
Tell them what you do before we get too far into it.
All right, hello world. I'm James. I'm a psych nurse practitioner. My passion is mental health and how it relates to our everyday life. Um, and yeah, so that's why I'm here. Give you guys 5 minutes of mental. And yeah, code switching is a thing. I mean, in mental health, we can call that masking. And it can be exhausting wearing a mask depending on how long you wear a mask. You know what I mean? And you code switch enough, and somebody bring it about you. They're like, wait a minute, Tim, I didn't know you were like this. You know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden, it is what it is. But like, I was having this conversation. Interestingly enough, I was having this conversation the other night with my friend, and he was, I guess his daughter was dating some, like, they're out in Texas. His daughter was dating a young man out there whose father is now running for as a public official, and all of a sudden the son goes daughter race. I think it's a class thing, and I'm like, yeah, I could see how that could be. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, that's just the way it is sometimes. But I don't feel like you need to change who you are at any point in time. You need to be, I know Third knows it. What did Jay uh, show you how to move in a room full of vultures? You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to change for anybody. You have to be your genuine self. And I mean, take personal inventory. Like, if you have some character defects that you need to work on those character defects. But being your genuine self, I think, will get you further than any assimilation or anything. The worst thing that happened to us was like the end of segregation. It wasn't desegregation, it's the end of it. You know what I mean? Because we were able to be ourselves within our confines, you know what I mean? And we were able to flourish. Then you throw us into the mix with everybody else, and you spend most of your time trying to be something that you're not, that you can't continue to progress. And then you become stagnant because you're trying to keep up with somebody else's standards.
Man. So we all talked about that amongst ourselves a lot, about how, like, man, we kind of had something sweet going on in segregation for those of us that was really trying. You know what I'm saying? If you was out here giving a fuck, it was kind of a sweet deal. And a lot of our issues do come from that. That's why we were saying, like, we brought up the mask earlier when we was discussing, are we putting on a mask to have to come here? Which mask do I got to put on today? How many masks can you make them familiar with until you get to, like, you brought up the breaking point of, like, oh my goodness, they get to clutching pearls on you and shit like that because they didn't know.
You wanted the nigga, now the nigga's here.
Yeah,
niggas here now. Oh, that we're gonna edit that. We're gonna pull up that clip right there. Once this video goes,
nah, James, I think you make a good point though, as far as, again, the masking, because that is really big. All I can think about is that commercial with that girl had the mask on her face. It was all happy. It was a smile face on that shit. And then she was all extra sad. But I guess, what I'm saying, that's depression though. You know what I mean? Like, that is it, because after a while it gets you to a form of depression where you're like, man, fuck. Like, what am I? You know what I mean? Like, I gotta go in here and put this bullshit on and saying, try to figure this out.
Interesting you bring up depression, because that's kind of what I want to talk about for these 5 minutes that I'm here with you guys.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. Like, it's exhausting to wear a mask. It could lead to depression, anxiety, all these things. Not pathological, so to speak, but it definitely be depressing. Or it can cause anxiety because, like, what if they notice me? If you're wearing a mask and you want everybody to see you some type of way, like, you're like, what if my makeup wears off and stuff like that? You know what I mean? Like, it can be an anxiety provoking situation. You know what I mean? And then especially when you have I remember that one time we had the conversation about cognitive dissonance. It's a mental tug of war in your brain. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're reacting in a way that you normally wouldn't react. So it's like you end up buffering and stuff like that. You start glitching, like what's going on? It's only so much you can take.
Right.
But so Timbo, and Third was having a conversation yesterday about like mental illness and like when it turned like, and I was like, kind of like when some of these things we deal with like is mental illness versus it just like a normal adaptation. And so like kind of like my little spiel today that I want to share with you guys is like when we're talking about like a psychiatric diagnosis or mental illness in general, is it a weakness or is it a superpower? Right?
Mm.
Because when most people hear, psychiatric diagnosis, they don't think of information or understanding. They just think something is wrong. It's like a flaw, it's like a limitation. And I feel like that's where usually the stigma with mental health like derives from. Like it's like if you have a mental illness, it's literally something wrong with you. So nobody wants to admit to having a mental illness. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's like, oh, nobody wants to admit to having AIDS. So like it's a stigma, it's stigmatized, right? And like say for instance, somebody like you said with depression, they're pictured as weak, unmotivated. I like to speak on mania or hypomania, which is not as severe, is like people admire the people with like hypomania for their energy and their enthusiasm until it's inconvenient, like Kanye West, right? Um, or like say for instance, when you hear about ADHD, it's usually, associated with somebody who has lack of discipline or effort. And these
Right.
are just all like people's perceptions of mental illness. They're not like rooted in anything that's in the DSM. It's not science. These are just your perception of it. And I don't think any psychiatric diagnosis is based on a character judgment. They're literally like criteria to meet everything. I can't just meet you and be like, okay, you're acting a certain type of way, so you're depressed. You have to meet the criteria for the diagnosis itself. And ultimately, I think with any type of like mental illness, it's just basically showing how your nervous system is reacting to stress in your environment in any particular situation. Like for depression, it's not necessarily laziness or like inability to show gratitude or strength. It's literally your nervous system is in like conservation mode. You know what I mean? Like I gotta like like when your phone gets like you're down to 10%, it switches to battery conservation mode. Not everything is working at full capacity in order to keep the phone on, right? And eventually the phone will die if you don't plug it up to the charger. But this is a state of mind that's supposed to be able to keep your phone on until you're able to get to a charger. So like when somebody is depressed, it's like their brain is just overwhelmed and it's like I just need to slow things down so I can mentally survive. And at this point in time, you're not operating with your full energy. Your motivation drops. Everything seems like bad. But like I feel like what's misunderstood about this, and part of this why depression could be partly a superpower, is most people who are depressed are really like introspective, reflective, very sensitive to their own needs and other people's needs, to the point where it can be painful. You know what I'm saying? And hence you got various degrees of depression. You got major depression from mild to severe. You know what I mean? And then like when it comes to mania, like, well, I'll speak on hypomania because mania is like the far end of the spectrum. This is somebody who has like unlimited energy, unlimited ideas, very creative. You know what I mean? We're gonna make it. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get this done. And sometimes it slips to the unwarranted side. When you guys were talking about like confidence and arrogance and stuff like that, it can easily slide to the arrogant side of the spectrum as
Oh
far as
yeah.
the hypomania. But when you put it into consideration with depression, because usually like for somebody to be diagnosed with bipolar one or bipolar two being the hypomania versus depression, they spend most of their time in depression. And just imagine like mania or hypomania being the accelerator and depression being the brakes. There's nothing wrong with stopping the car when the car needs to stop, and there's nothing wrong with like getting hyphy. You know what I'm saying? Ghost riding the whip at some point in times. But like when you're in traffic, you have to obey the laws. Of course, when you're navigating society, you have to kind of, I don't want to say conform, but I mean there has to be a balance. Gas, brake, dip. You know what I'm saying? There has to be some type of balance, and that's the balance between depression and anxiety. I mean, depression and hypomania, excuse me. And when you're able to notice that, then it goes from being a weakness to a superpower. You know what I'm saying? Like if you can use this to your advantage and you're more mindful of your mind state, you know what I'm saying? This could be some more of a superpower than a weakness. It's not holding you back. And unfortunately, a lot of people when they're in these different states, even like ADHD, you know what I'm saying, especially in adults, now all of a sudden everybody is ADHD. They're known for like not trying hard or being irresponsible, when ultimately it's just not how much attention they have is how they regulate the attention that they have. So, people with ADHD might hyper focus on one thing that's interesting to them, and then they'll neglect several other things, so to speak. So, like, my goal as a clinician, like in depression, mania, is to help people find that balance. I'm gonna try to help you find that balance to where, to me, I feel like a little bit of hypomania is definitely good for somebody who's depressed, but not to the point where it puts their social compass and it compromises. It's ADHD. I feel like one thing that's like definition, we should medicate it, of course. Untreated, it can cause like problems in your relationship with your occupation. It can cause a lot of like problems untreated. But at the same time, like I feel like outside of medications, being able to like navigate structuring your life to use this ADHD to your benefit. Because the people with ADHD are the people that come up with multiple ideas, some of them good, some of them bad. But it's just like the book of James, without faith without works is dead. Like I can come up with a billion ideas. If I don't act on one of them,
Nothing gonna happen.
it's kind of pointless. So like with like my people with ADHD, like if they meet the criteria, of course, and then I prescribe them any type of medication, I always kind of like hit them with like some psychotherapy as well. Like how do you utilize your neurodivergence in a way that you can be, I don't want to say more accomplished in life, you can be more effective in life, because technically at some point in time somebody had to think like, man, I wonder what it'd be like if I put these two wires together and it actually made a light bulb. You know what I'm
Hey,
saying?
see,
Like
okay, so look,
it,
so my bad, James, to cut you off, but I just want to ask, like, so
you're good.
because you're talking about that, so do you really think that mental illness is a neurochemical problem, or do you think that maybe there can be some kind of like natural homeopathic way uh, to kind of control those kind of emotions or subside those many emotions or whatever emotion that they're going through? Because is
I don't
chemical,
think
or do you think that?
so. We gonna say we use the biopsychosocial model. It could be biological, it could be psychological, it could be sociological, meaning like somebody who is exposed to just like, you know, dire circumstances. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like financial trouble, relationship trouble. After a while, that weighs on you. It doesn't have anything to do with what you're eating. It doesn't have anything to do with like anything else you're exposed to. It's just your environment. So like everything is kind of in response to your environment. We all have a propensity to go one way or the other in so I, like in the DSM it says the etiology of these disorders is unclear. So I don't think it's one shoe fits all as far as what starts it.
Okay.
Now, like I feel like diet plays a big role in your resiliency to your response to like certain stuff in your environment. Um, Also, like say for instance, when you're not thinking diet, like some people use drugs. You know what I mean? Like whether it be marijuana, nicotine, all these things affect your dopamine and your reward system. And then when you get into like methamphetamines and cocaine, it's like it dumps in your dopamine. So like this makes chemical changes in your brain. So then at that point in time, it's a chemical change in your brain that needs to be regulated. So I feel like there's several different etiologies, and in order for me as a clinician to like be able to help somebody, I have to take all these things into account. You can't take one thing without the other.
Right.
And like say for instance, I was talking the third one day, I was like, man, you know what? Just imagine when you're driving on the road and the food that you're eating, how do you feel versus when you come home to a home cooked meal? Like like your diet can weigh you down. I feel like a big, like especially the stuff that's in the foods, like the red dyes and all these different phytoestrogens and stuff like that are in the food can alter
Mhm.
your mood, especially if you're like continuously exposed to it. Um, and then you add stress from like outside stress, then your response is going to change. So I mean, it's like if I was treating somebody with hypertension, I would know maybe something's wrong with their kidneys. Something's wrong with their diet that's probably messing up their kidneys. It's, you know, the kidneys play a big role in your blood pressure regulation, or somebody with diabetes, like their diet. I can pinpoint what's killing you. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? I can literally pinpoint what's killing you. Like we can make this change, like if you're willing to, and right? Like I can run a set of labs on them, see their hemoglobin A1C is out of whack. We prescribe them, whether it be, metformin, insulin, Ozempic, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We can bring that hemoglobin A1C down. You know what I mean? Add some exercise into the mix, better diet into the mix. And we can resolve this. We can see what's killing somebody who's in respiratory distress. In mental illness, you can't see what's killing nobody. Like
Mm.
I can't see what's like you can be depressed. You can sit here and say, man, she cheated on me, this, that, and the other. And I say, well, just go find you a new girlfriend. And that's not even the fix. Like that's literally not the fix. You would think that that would be the fix, but it's not. Like you cannot see what's killing these people. And it's you just have to take into account there's so many factors when it comes to our mental health, to where
Right.
it's important to just not stigmatize it. Like we have to avoid the stigma of mental health, because we all, like, not everybody has diabetes, hypertension, but we all fall in the spectrum of like mental wellness, whether we're like having a bad day, a good day, or it's just today is just another day. We're somewhere within that spectrum, and it can go either way, whether what we see on the news, what happens at home, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So like it's hard to pinpoint, but I do feel like you have to address those basic fundamentals. I hear you talk a lot, Naj, about diet and all the stuff that's in our diet and the stuff, the chemicals they put in our food and stuff like that. That plays a role. So like once you address that, what if nothing changes? Then you have to start looking at other things that you can make changes in. Like, are you exercising? Are you getting enough rest? All these things play a role, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's the etiology of the illness. It could be a manifestation of the illness. Like I'm depressed, so now I don't want to eat. I don't want to work out. I don't, I can't sleep, or I'm sleeping too much and I'm overeating, so on and so forth. But like, so it's just a matter of like meeting a person where they're at and like trying to find a way to help get them back to a balance. And
Mhm.
like, that's my take on mental health. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think there's one like etiology. I will be having arguments with people every day if I say, man, it's all about the diet. Some people swear it's just your diet, but sometimes it's a lot more complicated, because you have a lot of trauma. Like, us people who look like this, we got trauma that's passed down from us generations on down. And then so like this trauma can show its ugly head at any point in time as a response to stuff that's going on today. And so I feel like mental health for us requires a different type of understanding, a different type of approach as people who don't look like us. But everybody has their own thing that requires some type of approach, one way or the other.
So it seems to me like, and tell me if I'm wrong from taking this away, but like our brains developed at a certain point in time these things that we now call, depression, or that we may label as ADHD, or any of the other names that we've given these syndromes. But they developed them at a certain time, because it was useful, because there's a useful part of it. And then it seems like what I'm taking from it is that at a certain point we start kind of over accessing the feeling, like, in our autonomic nervous system, how like the chemical goes into there, and it's an order slip for it to recreate it from certain events that happen to us. This trigger, this cue happens, it gets triggered, and then this emotion, gets, created from these chemicals inside of my brain and everything. And so what we're saying is that like there's a positive use case somewhere out here for these things to exist. And when we get caught up in them, it's just the fact that like at some point our brain started ordering too much of these chemicals to be made. You know what I'm saying? And we're overusing or abusing a source that for instance, like marijuana can be a good thing, but then like you also got weed heads who don't do shit with their fucking life, right? They over fucking used it and they're fucking, leaning on it for everything that happens to them type shit, right? So in the same way, that's an external chemical that we bring in that goes into our endocannabinoid system and sets off all of these different, things in our order slip for dopamine and different feelings and all this shit. That's something externally that we bring in the same way, our minds are automatically have this built-in thing that we can use as, like you said, a superpower. But far too often, the only thing that is being discussed is the other side of it when it's being abused. Am I kind of correct in digesting it that way in my assertion?
Yeah, you kind of spot on. And it's just like, say, for instance, with the marijuana. So if I use the marijuana when I'm stressed out, it's coping. You know what I'm saying? It's ineffective coping because like stress is inevitable, right? Every day there's stress. So like, say, for instance, you know, eventually one day I'm gonna be stressed out and I don't have marijuana. And that turns into something else because I haven't developed any other coping strategies, and this cascade leads to further depression. Because like you said, it's exogenous, it's external versus the chemical trigger from like something that's stressing you out. If you utilize a more positive coping strategy, like, okay, I'm depressed, let me go exercise, let me get moving. You know, people who move all the time, for instance, in these like, I don't call them third world countries if you may, they don't got time to sit around. You know what I'm saying? They gotta go herd the cattle. They gotta do all these things throughout their day to where they don't got time. If they it's it. Like I feel like depression. Like you know what I'm saying. So needless to say, that's why I feel like depression isn't a thing for certain people in certain areas, or it manifests differently. Their coping is gonna be different. So like once you use like marijuana to cope versus like some people who use marijuana only when it's fun, right? You
Right.
got a social marijuana smoker, man. I only smoke when I'm out partying. So
Now you got a
needless to
whole nother
say, it
relationship
doesn't become
with it.
pathological.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cascade, it's a pathway.
I come to it for this rather than I come to it for that. And then that creates the neural pathway that it wants to repeat because the brain is a processing machine that just keeps trying to repeat different kind of things when it sees the same kind of binary situation happening.
Yeah, and then ultimately, like, so like pathways can be restructured. You know what I mean? So like if you have somebody who has
Shit, we losing him?
brain to work, can't hear me?
There you go. You came back in now.
All right, so like when you have people with trauma, right? Like PTSD, PTSD works heavy on your sympathetic nervous system. When you're exposed to a trigger, this is why people have those intense flashbacks. Their hearts start pounding, they start sweating, like it's intense, and it could be from any particular trigger because that's a pathway, right? So you're exposed to something that lights that pathway. So you have to go through all this autonomic dysfunction or dysregulation because you're exposed to something. And so the goal with treatment for that is to create new pathways. So just because you have these negative pathways doesn't mean that you can't recreate new ones. And that goes through, I mean, you don't have to go to a therapist for this. You can kind of try to do this on your own, but sometimes it's kind of very hard to do. You always need somebody to reflect stuff with in a safe way, but you can always create new pathways. Like I used to smoke cigarettes. And so every morning I wake up, I have a cigarette. I go get my coffee, I have a cigarette. I go on this hour and a half drive, I smoke a cigarette. And for the longest after I stopped smoking cigarettes, I crave cigarettes at every one of these moments until I replaced it with something more positive.
So
Right. What have you
that's a
heard
little
about
bit.
Ivocaine to reproduce?
Ibogaine
Ibogaine.
Ibogaine, am I saying that right?
is with a G, Ibogaine.
Ibogaine.
Well,
Oh,
where
that's
he
the
from and what they call him?
Ibogaine. Yeah. So I'm hearing great things about it. So Ibogaine falls in the realm of psychedelics. You know what I mean? Your psilocybins, your MDMAs, and
Right.
there's a lot of research right now on psychedelics and the benefits of psychedelics in mental health. We use a lot of ketamine. You know, like a
I
lot of
used to
special.
use it like ketamine.
Yeah, I bet you did.
It's
You
different
know,
time. You know what I'm saying? That's what I used to rain. When I used to come out of my player shit. Yeah.
This is in
all
no
right. So
way,
like,
shape, or form sponsored by the
It's 20 years.
whole podcast community. This is him.
That was 20
He
years ago.
said that.
right. So like, say for instance, that feeling that you have after tripping on ketamine or mushrooms, or that feeling like that disinhibition that you have when you're like on ecstasy, like you're more loving, you're more open, you're able to talk, right?
We're
Of
ready to
course,
fight.
the amounts of psilocybin and the amounts of ketamine that they use in psychiatry is definitely not the level of party drugs. But what they found is it's not necessarily the trip. There's a lot of research on this term called neuroplasticity, where it helps your
Right.
brain create new nerves, right? So then like these nerves are now new pathways. So when you help somebody who's like stuck in this loop with these bad pathways, develop new pathways, and then you replace these bad pathways with different ways of thinking. So you combine psychedelics with psychotherapy. We call it psychedelic assisted psychotherapy. You help people create these new pathways, and I mean it's really beneficial, especially like on the microdose level, because you can have a bad trip, right? So if you give somebody too much of this, it might be more traumatizing than it is beneficial to them. But then like out of, I believe it's some research out of Stanford, they were able to isolate the isotope out of the psilocybin to where they're getting all the benefits from the psilocybin as far as the neuroplasticity
Getting
without the
none of that
trip,
shit.
right?
So,
And so ibogaine, from what I hear, is more efficacious than most of these like substances. The only thing I feel like we have to be wary about is toxicity. You know what I mean? And I feel like once regulation sucks, but like you still have to keep in mind like too much ketamine after a while, like long term use ketamine, it's toxic.
yeah,
So it's important that you don't just go and get some ketamine from your neighborhood special K dealer and
yeah,
think it's gonna be healing to you.
done
It's
good.
it's very important that you go, yeah. Even with the
You're gonna be
psilocybin, you know what I mean?
in
Like it like
the
you can have good effects with psilocybin, but you don't get none. You know what I mean? You want to get it from a good source and whatnot, man, and then make sure like okay, you can take it, but are you doing the work with like it's 2 or 3 days where that still kind of persists. So I feel like it goes along with the work, man. The psychedelics is like changing people's lives right now. Already, like, hey, I could probably use this to better myself. You know what I mean? To this trauma, like, it's changing people's lives right now, for real, for real.
well, shit. Hey,
Yeah.
Timbo, you want to get James's 2026? Tell
Actually,
me
yeah.
anything
Yeah,
predictions.
yeah, 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 yeah. So speaking on that shit, right? Tell us, what do you think's gonna happen next year, man? Like, where do you think we're gonna go politically, business, socioeconomically,
Financial.
mentally, all that shit?
Yeah, tell us something about mental. You know what I'm saying? You think that we gonna be on some real crazy times, or are we gonna be better times? Is the sunshine after the rainbow?
Isn't this about to get good for you?
Ah, nigga.
They're knocking down the door in 2026.
So that's all perspective. It,
Yeah.
it, it can it can go any way, man. I kind of laugh at a lot of the stuff that comes out, man. Like we were talking about the whole pirating thing. Like you know what I'm saying? Some people
Oh,
gonna turn into pirates next year. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be a thing. You want to be a pirate, you can be a pirate. Um,
Tell me anything.
so I mean, it's up in the air, man. Politically, like everything's up in the air, man. I just kind of sit back and watch. I just kind of sit back and watch the show. You know what I'm saying? And
Man,
it is what it is. I feel like the one thing is I don't want to look too far ahead. And then I start feeling like I start getting worried or something like that. Economically speaking, I feel like a lot of us are starting to see that it's important to take our financial future in our own hands. Um,
financial literacy.
a lot of us are like, yeah, and it's like everybody has a small business now, which is great. Now, once everybody has a small business, like I feel like we should start developing communities to make these small businesses more effective. Not just saying shop
You
this, shop that,
see?
but like, what do we do? Like, like I feel like we need to see more conglomerates, you know what I'm saying? More businesses joining forces to not just like consumers, but to like actually produce something that's good for society. You know what I mean? Especially when we're talking about the Titans. Like I feel like they prey on us. I remember like we was talking about the other day, like man, you used to be able to get a DVD from Netflix in the mail. You know what I mean? You can pass it around to your folks before you send it back. Now you can barely even have
You
Netflix
can't
running
even
on more
share
than
a
one TV in your
login.
house. Like
Yeah.
Man,
yeah, they preying on the consumer, but they're making us more and more. And I feel like, okay, so here's my prediction. We're going to be more reliant on these technologies that they sell us. Everything
mm,
has a subscription. If you don't pay for the subscription, we cutting you off. And I know this is like dystopian thinking. Just imagine if you had to have a subscription for your health.
Nigga, we already got a subscription for our health. It's called
It's health
insurance. Like,
insurance.
Obamacare. Get on the road.
God dang. Like,
$800
damn,
a month
nigga.
for health insurance. So I gotta pay a copay of
Like, why I
$100
pay
just
this
to
shit
get in
every
that
month?
motherfucker.
Like you said, I pay this
All
shit
right, I
every
say that to
month and
say,
I
look,
have a copay.
I see it. I don't know if it's real or not. I got to look into it. But they said they got a cure for diabetes in Russia or Germany. One of those two. And it's just
Probably
like,
both.
what happens when they start coming out for cures and stuff like this? But like, you got to pay for it. We only going to give you just a little bit. And you're right. Like, you got to keep recharging. Like, you got to reboost. Like a prepaid card. Like, insurance is one thing. I'm talking about a lot more paying for your living. You know what I'm saying? If like this is the only way you can survive is if you keep coins on there. Like it was a movie with Justin Timberlake once upon a
Yeah,
time
that's
Yeah.
where
exactly
where
what I
they
was
was
thinking
running out
about.
of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking along those lines. Like you can't and think about it. California was passing a law where they tax you how much you drive.
Yep.
Man.
Like the more mileage you put
Mm,
on your car, the more they tax you. And I'm like, this is moving in that direction to where like, man, you can't go to certain counties. You're not welcome here. You
yeah.
don't make enough. You don't qualify. They
Hmm.
got the real ID to really put
Get
you
you
in a
know where you
box. You
should
know what I'm
go.
saying? Like, so I mean, that's a lot of dystopian thinking. Will it go that direction? Possibly. You know what I mean? Only time will tell, man. You know what I'm saying? As the world turns, only time will tell.
Man.
So look, that's taking us into our next topic, and this one's gonna be a little less serious. But me and Naj had a conversation over the weekend, and Naj, you might want to chime in on this, Caliber. So we had a we had three conversations, right? The first of which is, who do y'all think is the greatest label, Death Row or Bad Boy? Second is, who would you choose if you had to, with their everything they had, Jay Z or LL Cool J? So let's go around the table and let's Naj or Caliber, if you want to talk into how we got on this conversation and maybe fill in the blanks that I'm missing.
I really can't remember how we really actually got into the conversation, but
I
we were
remember one
talking.
thing you said. What the fuck do you mean, nigga? Is you choosing Jay Z or LL Cool J? And my question
I,
was, are you choosing just as a rapper or as far as everything they fucking done?
Man, that wasn't your fucking question, nigga. Okay, so look, so we're talking, you know what I mean, and I think I go like for
Tell
me
me
personally, I was just like, man, Cash Money is probably the greatest record label, right? I think that Death Row got the blueprint, but Cash Money actually took it there. You know what I mean? As far as the music that they pushed out and labels and everything that goes on, that's just my perspective. And
I could
then
see the I could respect the Cash Money part.
and then so then we start getting on I don't know, you know what I mean, because I think I said that Jay-Z had a stake in Cash Money, you know what I'm saying, and then so we got to talking about that stuff, and then something happened where you know how this nigga be blowing kisses at the end of the show and shit, trying to be L Cool J. Yeah, you know what I mean, we started doing all that shit, and then so anyways, long story short, if you had to choose if you had to choose you know, just based on um I guess it's based on everything, all around game, and like who the person is, it LL or is it
Jay Z.
Jay
And
Z?
here's my argument to the whole fact. he brought up good points, right? Because when you talk about death row, first off, I'm not thinking about just death row as a whole. I'm thinking about everything that brought into death row. So I'm bringing in Ruthless. So with Ruthless, that's not only the whole NWA, but that's also Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Now
With
that's a
them,
separate
it's
label.
also
That's a separate label, is what it
nah,
is.
because
Niggas
with you
need to
don't
get
get
along with
death
each
row
other.
without Ruthless. Look, we're telling you how the conversation went, right?
I'm just telling you that you can't combine Ruthless and Death Row together. It's a whole nother
No, but
artist.
you don't get death row. You don't get
But
death row without Ruthless.
it's
What
some of the
what
same
what he said?
artists.
If you want to be down with Bad Boy, fuck you too. You know what
All
I'm saying?
right, Pac
Yeah,
came in with the
like
ball head.
so you can have Death Row without Ruthless, then you got at this point in time you're saying Ruthless is the better record label. If you want to be honest with you,
No,
this is what spawned gangster rap.
because look, with Cash Money you get Young Money, and then you also get OVO.
Oh,
And
so
So,
y'all
no,
stacking in. Y'all are stacking in
So
labels that
so
came from under.
well, I'm just saying though, you
all right,
don't
so
get
I'm gonna
those
give
we
you
without
are
the.
so
stacking in the
here's
labels
all
that
right.
came under you because
Okay,
it's
but
one had to
but
come
Death
And
first
Row
I
than the
didn't come
other.
from
all right,
under
so
Ruthless the same way though. They're,
Influence.
they're
I'm gonna give you
separate
guys one better
influences.
than all of these labels. I'm gonna give you guys No Limit. Insert No Limit.
Well, No
We
Limit's a
talked about
whole
that.
different
I don't
spectrum.
want to hear nothing. I
Nah,
don't want
No
to hear
Limit's a
nothing. No
different
Limit
spectrum.
changed the game.
No
So
Limit did
Master
change
P
the
changed the
game,
game.
but that's a
yeah,
different specter as far as what we're even. That leads more into where we're going with the Jay Z or LL.
I'm about to say, because if you're talking
But
about No Limit, then you're talking about Dame them too, almost on the same thing. Rockefeller.
so the reason why I bring up No Limit is look at Snoop when Snoop went from Death Row to No Limit and and his take on his like experience at Death Row versus No Limit. So
Oh,
Death Row was getting over on their artists. When you had No Limit, P was like, hey, look, this your house, it's in your name, these your cars, it's in your name, and you just gotta work. You know what I'm
He
saying?
did
So
that
like P
same shit
changed the
for
game,
50 too.
put 50 on. He used 52. I like that story that 50 said. He was not like, man, nah, you just come back later and give me the rest of the shows that you owe me. He waited till he's a multi shows for the low. Master P, I feel like really really changed the game as far as like business wise. That business acumen, because I feel like if you didn't have Jay-Z, I mean, if you didn't have Master P, you wouldn't have a Jay-Z. You wouldn't have Rockaware and all these like the Rockefeller films and all this stuff like that. Master P made that blueprint.
You right. You right.
And
And that's
Which
why
that's
we
my
led
take.
talking about
us
it and
That's my
everything.
take on
The
that.
to who
influence.
would you take, Jay Z or LL Cool J?
That's why you got to kind of look at the whole thing of the
Overall,
spectrum, because it's influence
I'm gonna
That's
overall.
take LL
my
Cool J.
question with this nigga
I'm
was
taking LL Cool J.
he
I'm
Okay,
said
taking
thank you.
LL
That's
Cool
all.
J over
overall.
That's all I
Jay-Z
asked.
any day.
That's all I asked.
Okay,
That's all I
but
asked right there.
so I asked the question when you say overall, what does that consist of? This nigga told me I was being difficult.
Yeah, because you see how James just answered that. He said, "If you just gonna tell me," he didn't say nothing else. He just said overall. Okay, I'm
No,
gonna
but
take LL
I
Cool J.
think different than James.
I can give you my reasons why I'm
So
taking
I
LL
want to
Cool
hear
J.
your reasons why, so I can prove this nigga's point or my point to this nigga.
No, you don't have to. He just proved my point. He just asked right there. I just asked him overall. You
But
got
it
to
wasn't
ask
that
the whole thing.
simple.
Well, was it sunny that day, or did
I
they
did
have
not say that shit,
what
nigga.
did
And
they
don't
eat
try to
that
say I
morning?
said that. I said, what are you considering in the overall? Because if is it just music?
You can't
I'm
just
taking
consider just
LL.
music because his catalog, Jay-Z's catalog might be a little bit longer, right? I'm thinking
Is it?
I'm
Is it?
taking L.
Is his catalog longer?
Well,
I know
LL
more
started at
Jay-Z songs than
16.
LL songs. I'm
But
just gonna
that's
throw this
also
out
our
there.
generation, though. You got to remember, LL's been rapping since the 80s.
Catalog is longer. He got more albums.
Rock the Bells is one of my favorite LL Cool J songs. I'm pretty sure it might have came out when I was first born. You know what I'm saying? Mama said knock you out. You know what I'm saying? Like these like LL was a cultural phenomenon when it came to rap. Without LL, you wouldn't have had Jay-Z,
Facts.
right? And it's not even without this person, you wouldn't have this person. I'm taking LL because at this point in time, LL still got a career, and it ain't like his money is definitely not as long as Jay-Z. People are gonna take Jay-Z because like his business acumen and so on and so forth. But that's based on like When you look at like in the 80s, niggas that was getting money in the 80s versus niggas that was getting money in 2000s versus niggas that getting money now. How's they getting all this money, right? So like for you to survive all of these decades
Yeah.
takes a different type of business acumen to be consistent and somewhat relevant to this day. I just seen LL Cool J on some TV show. I mean, he's doing some TV show. He's always doing a TV show.
Gotta say the same thing about Jay though.
But
Jay
so
been
okay,
dropped without in '98.
okay. So this is it led me and Naj down this
different
this
era. So like
trajectory, right? Think about your 2K. My
Talking longevity.
2K build. Talk about your 2K build, right? Longevity. Jay-Z and LL are both the 92 in longevity. Hits. I think LL has more hits.
Take the money away from both of them.
Take the money away
Take
from
the
both
money
of
away
them,
from both.
build the 2K build. Who has
Who you
more
think of?
hits? I think LL has more hits. What I'm saying is if you have a 2K build for all the attributes, storytelling, LL is a little bit better in every category. However, the categories that Jay-Z is better in, he's way better than. As far as mogul.
LL ain't got a storytelling song that's better than Meet the Parents.
What are you talking about?
You don't got a storytelling song that's better than Meet the Parents.
Nah, that's not true.
He does. He has that one song where he took the dude's bitch.
Yep. Thank
you. He said you can't hide treasures when it's in the glass house.
Everybody miss.
Because he started with he was the inventor of the hater song. He was the first nigga to jump on wax hater.
But so this is what I'm saying.
Hey, but then put it like this:
if you line them up as far as category
this
by
nigga
category,
created light skin shit.
LL is a little better in every
These
category.
things are true. These things are true. Because Nas called him like, "What you think you getting girls now because of your looks?" Jay-Z, I mean, LL was getting girls because of his looks. I'm just saying, man.
But he was making good songs though.
But ultimately, it all worked together. So here's my takeaway: who's a better actor?
Well, of course, LL's a better actor.
Yeah. Because that acting on stage,
Jay-Z never had a
whole other attribute.
Jay-Z wasn't paid in full.
I'm going with Hov just based
he
off
didn't make it past the screen test.
That nigga wasn't in paid in full.
Jay didn't make it past the screen test, dog. They're like, we can't
he
do nothing with
wasn't.
this.
No, he wasn't in paid in full. He
I
was
want to
in
see Jay-Z's couch audition.
Y'all see this nigga in state property?
State property.
That's what I'm talking
He
about.
was just sitting in the car. That nigga said, "So what you gonna do?"
Yeah.
That's all I remember that nigga said. That was it. Nigga Dave Dash was talking the whole time like, this nigga that stole my bitch. This nigga that nigga said, "So what you gonna do?"
That's like, man, because we like, man, just go ahead and keep it to this. And so when we're talking, so now we're talking about versatility. LL got him like that. The versatility rating is higher because like LL is getting movie money.
Yep.
So
and he's from the generation where
what are you considering part of everything? Are you trying to keep it equal? Are you what?
I'm going with Jay.
But you don't
you're
like
a Clippers
winning
fan as well
because you're a Clipper fan.
I'm going with Jay over all day. I'm not even gonna touch on the Clipper shit, but I'm going with Jay over man. It's not even.
I'm going with Jay, man.
The only knock that Jay got on him, the only knock you got on Jay as far as records go is Jay never had a Billboard 100 hit by himself.
Okay.
But not only that, Jay's also never been the face of the league.
That nigga ain't never made a movie. He can't act.
Wait, are we saying he was never the face of the league though?
Nigga, the top selling, yes, the top selling artist his whole fucking career. Go Biggie, Pop, Snoop, motherfucking Nelly, DMX, Eminem. Yes, we can say Jay-Z has never been the face of the fucking league.
But he still put out quality albums, though.
That's arguable.
Like he still put out
quality. You saying that?
Yes. Mama said knock you out.
Yes. Rookie of the year. He was rookie of the year, bro.
Rookie of the year, the vet of the year. Yes.
Rookie of the year. So when you talk
I
about
would
first two
argue.
albums,
Wu-Tang.
I would
you
argue
put
in
LL's first 2
86.
albums versus Jay-Z first 2 albums.
We talking globally, right? Because
Yes.
Rakim was bigger to the streets than L. But L was globally a bigger superstar.
But
Yeah,
L
you're right.
was just as big in the streets.
He's
as
more
Jay-Z.
marketable.
Yes.
So
You're right.
and if
He's
you
more
put
marketable.
LL's first 2 albums versus Jay-Z's first 2 albums, LL, and then you're talking about this. What's the word? Anachronistic. Two different times, right? So when Jay-Z was coming
Using
out,
these big
LL was
ass
already
words,
in
I'm
his
taking
lover
your
boy
ghetto
phase.
pass.
That's what I said. Annika, what?
Yeah, you got
I gotta Google that.
anachronistic.
Spell it.
It don't
You
fit
see
because of the
fucking
time
tennis?
frame, right?
He's a tennis player, guys.
He's a tennis. Oh, he be out there.
Who's a tennis
Anachronistic. She's a Russian tennis player.
I-
player? Oh yeah. I can wear her shoes while I'm watching racing.
but look, you put those two, the first two that from tip periods, though, that went anachronistic. It's comparing some shit from the 80s to some shit from the 90s. Even the reception from the world was way better for LL, and LL was in movies at this point in time. Like
So
movies, of course, back in the day with really hip hop. You know what I'm saying?
so it's hard to
LL was doing the Who Do You Loves and shit like that.
it's hard to compare people to LeBron to Jordan, right? But we was able to see Kobe and Jordan play at the same time, right? And the question is, when you were still in the league competing, who was whooping you? When LL was trying to drop greatest of all time and all that shit, he was not competing with Jay-Z records.
What are you talking about?
When they
Because
did
that
cross
GOAT
paths
album,
and they was in the league,
his GOAT
at the
album
same
hit
time.
harder than the Life and Times Volume
no,
2.
we're not gonna say that.
Nigga, what are
We're
you
not gonna
talking
say
about?
So when Who Do You Love and all that stuff came out, I knew more of that than I knew of Jay-Z at that time. We had to go back and listen to Reasonable Doubt. Reasonable Doubt was not popping like that for us. It wasn't on the radio.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And you know it. You have to go back. You have to go back in time to appreciate Reasonable Doubt. Like, okay, I like this, right? Because we was hearing Biggie and Pac at that time. Jay-Z was not even a factor because he was going up against Biggie and Pac. You know what I'm saying? So then,
And
like,
Nas,
I hear what you're saying.
Mobb Deep.
So it's like saying Kobe
Common.
played with Jordan, but he didn't play prime Jordan.
Nobody cared about my deep until after Biggie and Pac died. I get that he didn't play against Prime. So you saying that nobody would have been listening to Hove hits if they came out at the same time?
No, people were
No,
listening
that's not what
to
I'm
him,
saying.
But he was Kevin Durant during the Kobe and LeBron shit. He was Kevin Durant. He's gonna give you
one better.
points. He's gonna give you buckets. But
he could have been Carmelo
looking at him as a
Anthony.
GOAT.
He could have been Carmelo Anthony when LeBron went to the league.
Yeah,
they went to the league together.
Yeah,
but LeBron has more star
J.R. Smith. Y'all tripping?
Nah, he ain't J.R. Smith. I ain't gonna do him like that.
You ain't gonna count him out like that.
But he's definitely I can see the Melo comparison. Like, here you are, Melo, playing in the West. You got to play against Kobe 4 times. You came in the league with LeBron. You got Chris Bosh. You got Dwayne Wade over here, and I'm still holding my own against these niggas. Pound for pound, I'm the best scorer. I'm the best scorer in the league. Yeah, I'm the best scorer in the league, but I got all these other great niggas around me, so it diminishes what I bring to the table. I can give Jay-Z that.
And what was the 2 label options? What was the 2 record label options? Death Row, who else?
Bad
Cash
Boy.
Money.
Bad Boy. All right, we'll throw Cash Money in there.
If you throw Cash Money, there's no Cash Money without No Limit.
I'm taking Cash Money if Cash Money's thrown in there.
One of them in Bad Boy, because Bad Boy never had nobody but Big, like
Craig Mack.
Listen, I'm just
they had 112.
No, look,
Mary J. Blige.
I get it, Mace 112 total.
Boy.
Mary J. Blige wasn't a Bad Boy.
But like, I get it, 112, all that. We talking about hip hop though, right?
But that's that
We
we're
talking
at
about
the
hip hop
generation
because
where
you put
hip
him up
hop
against
and
Death
R
Row,
and B was
and
merged.
Death Row is just a hip hop label. In the same way that Cash Money is, you know what I'm saying? So like, if we talking about hip hop, it really Bad Boy catalog ends at Biggie. Let's be real. Mace for sure, one good album, like for sure, and I fuck with it. But we talking about
Bro,
one
you
album
still
from
got the
Mace.
Locks, the first
Talking
Locks
about,
album.
talking about one album.
I
You
don't
know
know,
what I'm
bro, because you
saying?
still got Craig
Death
Mack.
Talk
Row,
about what
You
album?
still
versus
got
Death
all
Row.
the remixes.
Oh, they get first off the Chronic. We talking about the
Yeah,
motherfucking Chronic, nigga. Game
Doggy
changer,
Style.
ready,
but we West
nigga.
Coast
Doggy
niggas though.
style,
We West
nigga.
Coast
Dog
niggas. We ain't on
pound,
that.
nigga. Like
Yeah.
these
Who
niggas
picks
had
Bad
such a
Boy?
grip
Is
on
anybody in this group
motherfucking.
picking Bad Boy?
Nah, I'm taking Cash Money though.
No, king.
If Cash Money's thrown
I'm
into
not
this, I'm
taking
taking
Cash
Cash
Money
Money.
over there, bro.
Yes, I am, and
I'm not
let me
taking Cash
explain
I'm
it.
Money
taking No Limit. I'm taking No Limit over
because if you
Cash Money,
doing
and I'm
the
taking Death
brain
Row.
shit,
Because
But
who laid the blueprint? Death
if
Row
so
you
laid the
doing
yeah,
blueprint for Bad Boy.
so as a
I'm
whole,
saying, bro, like
y'all leave your
Jay-Z
comments.
had to come over to Death Row and get to, you know what I'm saying, get to watch it. You feel me?
Y'all leave your comments
Come
as far
on,
as the
bro.
2026
Death
predictions.
Row.
As you know, we got a lot of stuff to discuss on the next coming weeks and going forward. Yeah, let's wrap it up with the
Oh
tell me
shit, yeah, we
anything,
over
bro.
time.
Yeah, we over
Shit, tell
that
me
time
anything,
limit.
man. 2026 predictions, nigga. Get the strap. It's going up. Niggas might pull anything next year. Also, my 2026 is digital IDs is coming. You can bet your fucking dick on it. Digital IDs on the motherfucking way. Get ready for that. Digital motherfucking currency in full motherfucking effect. If you get a lot of fucking money in 2026, put it in a bank stable coin rather than putting it in a fucking bank. Hello. Because every bank got the fucking right to create their own fucking stable coins now and shit. So motherfucking take advantage, bitch, because like I've been nigga 2016, nigga, the digital era is here, nigga. Gone is the paper era.
Yeah.
And that shit finna play out big next year. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna definitely see the money changing over, and we're already seeing it. So get ready for that to come into full on fruition, and get ready for a bunch of motherfucking influencers and motherfuckers to make a gang of fucking money on crypto over the next 2 years to motherfucking get you to motherfucking adopt it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And by the time y'all motherfuckers adopt it, if you don't start fucking around now, it's gonna be ugly. That's what 2026 is gonna teach us.
Yeah, it's a lot, man. I want to piggyback off of that, man. AI, and AI. Everybody get familiar with your
Damn.
AI, whether it be Chat GPT, whether it be any one of them. I don't know what's the other ones, man. Uh, you know what I'm talking about.
Grok,
Anyway,
You got
yeah,
Manna.
Fucking
You
all that
OpenAI.
got
stuff.
I know.
All the AIs, man.
yeah.
Just get to, what I'm saying, get to know it. And
Gemini.
also what we need to do as a people though, man, is we
Complexity.
need to learn our laws too as well. Cause taxes is big right now too, especially with the digital currency, man. Don't get caught up in no BS, man. The Wild Wild West is done. Now we coming into a centralized everybody, they're finna be taxing everybody on this shit.
I
So,
see you.
so
Regulation.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
regulation is here. So please
Regulators, mount it.
please brush up on your knowledge when it comes to dealing with these things, man, because they not gonna play fair. They gonna be talking about all kind of little
We don't
loopholes
fight
and little
fair.
stuff that's gonna be triggered in there to where they're gonna make us try to pay the most out of all that stuff. They don't want to see us get money. They trying to get it. So yeah, brush up on the laws and AI, man. AI.
I'm, let me piggyback off that. They don't want to see us healthy either. So you got to learn how to grow your own food.
Right,
You know what I mean? Grow your
right.
own, keep your own. They're making healthy food more and more expensive.
Thank you for that.
Anything that's healthy for
Right,
you, it's gonna be way more. So learn how to grow your own.
right. Hey, no, for real though. That's right, man. Get the right stuff in you, man. And big time.
Community
Timbo.
garden with some people.
So on that note, look, eat right, feel right, do right, be better. Look, do your research, find everything that's gonna work for you in and outside of the same markets, right? So look, there's a lot of research. If you guys want to know any more, leave a comment when you see this video. If you guys want to do any more, look, we're gonna start putting these videos on the chat. We're gonna start putting these videos on the YouTube shorts and all that shit, right? So look, until next time, y'all know what it is. We out.